And I shared this with one of the ladies that I'm working with on yesterday, so I wanted to share it with you all today. And it's how to stop your carb cravings by doing 4 things. So if you're with me, type the number 4 and give me just 6 minutes. And so as we're watching and listening, I'm going to go ahead because I just realized I didn't take my collagen. I showed you the collagen, but I didn't take it. So I'm going to finish my routine and I'm going to press play and give me 6 minutes, all right?
Certain people, once they start carbs, they cannot stop. So recently I had a person who reached out and wanted some help because they were slightly addicted to carbs. They wanted to start keto, but they have this addiction. How do they go about it? So I decided to create a video for this person. All right,
I'll share the link to the video in the comments when we're done.
To consume sugar. Okay, it's in baby food, it's in all of our foods. And go trick-or-treating and you get all this candy and every holiday and cookies, etc. And what happens inside our body every time we do this is we start to develop an addiction. And that involves 2 neurotransmitters. One is dopamine, which is involved with pleasure sensation.
So listen up.
And then we have serotonin, which is involved with the happiness sensation. Now, I used to have an addiction, a periodic craving for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I got caught up in this eating a pint every night before I went to bed.
I'll tell y'all my story about the ice cream.
I would say a year. I would be obsessed about it. I would be thinking about it all day long. And eventually, if I didn't consume it, I had this pressure or stress build up that made me physically uncomfortable. But as soon as I started consuming this delicious ice cream, I felt satisfied, happy. I felt like I was surviving. I could finally breathe again for about
Anybody been there?
About a minute. Now, of course, this was artificially making me satisfied, happy, and feeling like I was surviving when I actually was feeling very miserable the rest of the day and not really surviving health-wise. So what you have to realize is that every time you give in to this craving, you're going to get more cravings over time. It's going to happen. It's going to become stronger and stronger over time. And it's very interesting to me that your body can get into a state physically where it demands this sugar. This addiction is real, and it will literally control you to a point where you're completely out of control. So what can you do at this point? Number 1, you need to stop eating completely. You need to start fasting.
Type a number 1 in the comments.
Because what's going to happen, instead of eating food, you're going to eat no food, and your body is going to have to switch over. There's going to be a little uncomfortable transition period, but it won't be too bad, where your body will start to switch to ketosis. And then when you start burning fat for fuel, your brain actually starts to heal and reset, because the receptors for these neurotransmitters are so messed up. They need to be reset. The absolute best way to do it is simply start fasting. I would recommend minimally 24 hours to 48 hours. And if you can actually do exercise, light exercise, walking, that would be even better because you can burn off that sugar that you just consumed. So just get it out of the system, get your body into ketosis, and then your brain will feel better. The interesting thing about the brain is that if given the choice, the brain will prefer ketones over sugar any day. It's very therapeutic. And as soon as that happens, you start to shift to be more in control over this addiction. All right. Number 3, you have to be very careful to avoid the triggers. Get all the junk food out of the house, including those chips that you have up in the cupboard that you've been hiding. Make it difficult for you to get this junk food, especially late at night when you're kind of bored. So many people at night, they're not even hungry. They're just going through the cupboards, looking for something.
3 in the comments.
They don't even know what they're looking for, but maybe something salty and crunchy, maybe something sweet. But you need to get the junk out of your house. Very important. When you're fasting, don't read cookbooks, okay, especially for desserts. You want to avoid any type of trigger, including pictures of recipes or desserts, because dopamine is all about anticipating pleasure. As soon as you eat this food, you don't continue to increase dopamine. Dopamine is kind of a precursor to actual eating it. So as soon as you look at a picture or smell food, you instantly start increasing the dopamine, and that is going to create a controlling factor over your body. Let's say, for example, you're driving your bike down your neighborhood and it's dinner time and you can smell spaghetti cooking from someone's house. That would be bad. Don't do that. So smells are very powerful. Kentucky Fried Chicken, they pump out all these different smells so they can lure you into that facility. Avoid any and all environments that can tempt you. And lastly, B vitamins are crucial. Vitamin B1 will completely handle this right here. Okay, so use that through nutritional yeast to help curb your your cravings.
Addictions.
Hey, before you go real quick, I have a course.
So I'm going to stop here. And so, hold on. So, all right. So he talked about a couple of things. And again, I wanted to come on here because I shared this little video clip with someone yesterday who was just having trouble kind of getting over carbs. And so I encouraged her to just watch this video because a lot of times, you know, I will kind of share things, people will listen. Sometimes they just need to hear it from other people. And so I don't have a problem sharing resources when I find them, which is why I'm here on live with you all. So number one, the first step to kind of overcoming, and he used the word addiction and cravings, but for some, it really truly is an addiction. And a lot of times people kind of shy away from the word addiction, but it is what it is. Good morning. Good morning to you too. So to stop eating for 24 hours. And if you can't stop eating completely for 24 hours, definitely fast for the 24 hours from carbs, right? We're talking about the breads. We're talking about the pastas. Because the problem is, and can anyone else relate to this? When we start eating carbs, it's hard to stop eating them, right? When you eat the chips, sometimes you can't just eat one or two chips. The next thing you know, you ate the whole bag, right? And for me, I was big on pretzels. Number one, because they're crunchy and salty. So, and then I liked salty and sweet. So I would mix my pretzels. I would do this mixture of, and was my little mixture. I would do the goldfish pretzels, right? The goldfish pretzels. You know, those pretzel crackers, the goldfish pretzels, because it had salt. And then I would do the cheesy goldfish, and then I would mix it with raisins. So for me, it was always me like craving something crunchy, something sweet, and something salty at the same time. And before I knew it, the whole bowl that I mixed together, which I thought was supposed to be for a couple of days, it was completely gone, because when you start eating the carbs, you can't stop. So listen, I can totally relate. So if you are there right now, I have been there, and there are lots of things that help with that. You know, number one, going on a fast from carbs, just kind of resetting your system, resetting your metabolism. So resets are so important. And so what I love about sharing this video, because he talks about the same things that I show up talking about. And sometimes I know y'all are like, oh, there she goes again, talking about eating right. Oh, there she goes again, talking about exercise. There she goes again, talking about the vitamins. And he kind of just reiterated what I share, right? So number 2 was exercise. Y'all type number 2 in the comments if y'all are still with me. Number 2, the second step was exercise. So he gave 4 ways to help to stop your cravings or addiction to carbs. Number 2, exercise. We have to move our bodies. We have to. It's not an option. And when I say exercise, I'm not talking about being in a gym for a whole hour. Yes, that's great. I'm not in a gym for a whole hour. I like to walk, and then 3 days a week, do some strength training. And I do that from home, right? And so we have to move our body. And I don't even like using the word exercise. So just say, move your body. Number 2, he said, move your body. Number 3 was avoid triggers, right? You have to avoid the triggers. If you have the stuff in your house, you're going to eat it. Hashtag ask me how I know. So I always encourage my ladies, just get it out of the house. Just get it out completely. If you're on the 14-day, no sugar fast, just get it out of the house, right? And And how many times have we, fasted and said we're going to fast from eating certain things? And for me, if I could be honest, it was Popeyes, right? I told you all, I wasn't always like, oh, let me fuel my body properly. Let me eat healthier so I can live longer. No, I come from a long line of people with all kind of health problems. A lot of family members that are no longer with us today because of these health problems. And that is why I'm so passionate about what I do. It's not that I want to look like I have it all together and I'm perfect and I always get it right. No, I've seen firsthand what happens when we don't fuel our body. You're looking at somebody that grew up on McDonald's. You're looking at someone that grew up on pizza. You're looking at someone that grew up on Chinese food. And today, Dr. Berg talked about his ice cream, addiction to ice cream. Y'all know I loved my Haagen-Dazs butter pecan ice cream when the store was sold out of that. My second choice was cookies and cream. And I wouldn't eat just a little bit. The little thing that says 3 servings, I ate it all at one time. So I literally ate 3,000 calories worth of ice cream in one sitting. That's where I was. I loved my Chinese food, my pizza, all of those things. And if you have those, so just going back to avoiding the triggers, you have to remove it. You have to remove the salty stuff. You have to remove the sweet. You just have to remove it, right? You just have to get it out of the house. Somebody type in number 3, avoid the triggers, avoid the triggers. And then number 4, he talked about vitamins and how important vitamin B was, and not just vitamin B, but multivitamins in general, because a lot of times if we're deficient in, certain vitamins and minerals, that's why we're craving these things. Our body is literally craving something, and what we end up doing is thinking that we need sugar. Oh, maybe I need sweets, because in the moment we feel better. Like it sends happy signals to our brains when we get our carbs, right? Happy signals. Don't you feel good? Don't you feel happy every time you eat those things? But it's only temporary. It's only temporary. So number 1, that's my favorite ice cream and flavor. Yeah, I'm telling y'all what I know. And so that's why I'm so passionate about what I do. And that's why I try to be as consistent as possible with showing up. And I know I keep talking about my skin, but everything on the outside truly is a manifestation of what's going on the inside. So when I was filling myself up on pizza, when I was filling myself up on Chinese food, my Haagen-Dazs buttercream ice cream, my pretzels, I could eat a whole bag of pretzels in no time, because and the more you eat the carbs, the more you crave them. So it really is about, fasting, trying to go without it for a certain period of time, and to really reprogram and retrain your taste buds. That's really the only way. If we have it in the house to say, I'm just going to eat a little bit at one time. I used to get up in the middle of the night. It used to be like midnight, and I would crave my goldfish. I would be craving my pretzels. And because I wanted something sweet, I would be craving the raisins. And I would just, in the kitchen, like a little rat, a little mouse in the kitchen, I would hide, right? I would sneak and I would hide, because I wouldn't want my family to see, oh, she's in there eating again. And so I get it. I understand. And it took some time for me. I listen, I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to show up as if I'm perfect. This has been a journey. But I see what it has done for my skin. I see what it has done for my energy, just for my health alone, from coming from a family, a long line of depression, anxiety, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of these things. And I made a decision that, I am going to break the curse. And like today, you can make a decision. So I went down this whole rabbit trail. Like, this is not even where this was supposed to go, because I didn't want to feel like I'm showing up, just talking at you, preaching at you. But I know someone needed to hear this. So again, you